Okay, I think we're being recorded, so anything that you don't want like the world to know, there's pros and cons about being recorded. But what I wanted to say was like in the shirim that I listened to yesterday, two things I heard at two different shir. Is that clear? I heard the same thing twice.
From two different places?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's hashgacha pratis. One has to do with hishtadlus, which is our subject, right? And the other one has to do with simcha, which we're going to get to today, B'ezrat Hashem, which I think you kind of talked about it last week, about this thing about simcha. You were asking about it. Anyways, but the thing about hishtadlus is like, and they were both saying the same thing. And I'm just doing this because I read it. Doesn't mean like I own all of this stuff, right? But when I teach and I tell you, you have to do hishtadlus, and in the same breath, you have to understand that your hishtadlus doesn't mean anything. So, and two people said that last night. It was like Rabbi Gladstein and I think it was Rabbi Mundell. And it's really like it's like this to me. It's like this, you have to do hishtadlus. Hashem created the world in that way, and that's what you have. Oh, no, I think it was Rabbi Ari Ben Shushan said that, right? Because he has a great share on the Beis Levi on Bitachon. Beis Levi has also a sefer on Bitachon. Yeah, which I've been trying to get a hold of. So it's like in the same breath, you have to do hishtadlus, but you have to remember that your hishtadlus doesn't make, and he gave a story. Ben Shushan, Rabbi Ari Ben Shushan, he said there was a shlamazel, and people think that shlamazel is a word in Yiddish, but it's actually not. It's Hebrew. Shalom. I know. Shalom mazal. What? Shalom mazal. I know that he doesn't have mazal. Shalom mazal. Yeah.
How do they say Yiddish?
No, shlomazel. I don't know. So no, because it's interesting when you watch Rabbi Ari Ben Shushan, he's such a salat, Moroccan, and he speaks Yiddish. Anyway, so he tells a story about this guy who was shlomazel, like everything he touched turned to mud, yeah, exactly, and he came to his chevra and he goes, I bought a piece of land in Philadelphia, and they're all like, maybe you could like sell it, or maybe there's a way you can get out of this. No, I bought this land, the guy told me it's a great idea. Ooh, boy, so anyways, fast forward a little bit of time,
what's the problem?
I don't know, whatever it was. I don't think, whatever. I don't know. Anyway, so a little bit of time passes by, and the state decides to make this highway.
Oh.
And they have everything is set up except there's a little piece of land that some guy owns, our shlamazel. And so the guy goes to his lawyer, and his lawyer looks at the papers, and he says, we are set. If I charge you the highest, then you are set for the rest of your life. That, you know how much you can get from the government for this piece of land that they want to make this huge highway out of? Okay, so was the shlomazel? I don't know. Levi, we should, so there's plenty of stories. And then actually he told over a story from the Chazanich, which I told you guys, I think even last week, the story about the person who went to America by boat to collect money. And he was gone from his family for like 6 months, and he didn't collect a lira, and he came back to the yeshiva, and he was like so embarrassed. And the Chazanich called for him to come. He's like, and he goes to see the Chazanich, and the Chazanich stands up for him, and Mazel Tov and Shkayak, and he goes, I don't think the Rosh Yeshiva knows I didn't collect anything. He goes, what are you talking about? You brought in $50,000. And he said, I went there, came back, I didn't. He goes, no, you don't understand. After you left, there was this guy from Australia who came into the Beit Medrash and looked around, and he was so impressed with the learnings and everything. And he says, anything you guys need? He said, yeah, we do. So he gave a donation of $50,000. He goes, you mean I had to schlep all the way to America by boat to be away from my family? And this guy just walks in. He says, no, you don't understand. You had to do the shtatlus. We don't know if this would have happened if you didn't do it. So it is. Yeah. Right. Well, you know what? You're right. And I think this is what I always think is one of the most important things we learned from Rachel Imenu, is everything that she did, and I'm not going to go into it because we all know that her Mesiras Nefesh, she doesn't get paid back until quite Yesh Sachar Lepulatech happened how much longer? Generations later. Still till today. It's like we could do something. We're like, I don't see any schar around here. I'm working so hard, but we have no clue. Hashem is above time and space. It's totally not, nothing's, Okay, so now we're going back. We're still in the introduction, which we're going to finish today, B'ezrat Hashem, and talking about the benefits of bitachon. And it's so interesting because it's like, I feel like Rabbeinu Bachai, and I, like, we have this thing where we're trying to sell bitachon, like you would think, like, I'm trying to sell it because how much has changed my life, but why did he have to sell it? Like he's just trying to show people how much it's going to change their lives. Sure. No, of course. People ask about why did Yaakov Avinu have to, like somebody said, I think it was why. He said, if anyone thinks that we don't have to have an army, then you're on a higher level than Yaakov Avinu. Whatever. Anyways, yeah. Okay, so person who has bitachon is relieved about his business matters, even if he suffers setbacks. Even if he suffers setbacks, he's okay with it. Because whatever money he's going to come and he's going to get, or he's not going to get, then he knows that this is totally from Hashem. If his merchandise remains with him unsold, or if he becomes ill and he's unable to work, or he's unable to collect his debts, he knows that Hashem is in charge, and Hashem is going to give him his parnasa, how Hashem thinks it's fitting for him, when he thinks it's fitting for him. And then he quotes a pasuk. David Melch says, "For Hashem alone, wait silently, my soul, because my help is from Him." It's such a great pasuk. Hashem is talking to his neshama. Can you imagine? Doba, relax, take it easy. Take a chill pill.
Put those shoulders down.
Take those shoulders. Oh, good. Oh, good. That was the homework.
It's so funny when you become aware of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, gosh.
Yeah, you become aware of it. It's really very important. And also, then you could try and do it to people around you. Like, you see something, you can just go like this. If they trusting you, like, don't push them down, but you just say like I think I told you guys one time I was on the phone. I was actually doing a video call with somebody, and I was like, and she said, "Doba, you're not breathing." I said, his shoulders down, breathing. These are all good things, right? So David Melch is telling his soul to silently and calmly wait for Hashem's help, because it is only Him who can provide whatever he needs. So, if like you said, we're talking about, you just said like everybody needed to work on their bitachon. David Melch had to work on his bitachon. His whole Sefer Tehillim is about bitachon. And like we said, I think we said this already, that David Melch is like running away from Shaul or whoever he's running. He seems to be running a lot. He must have been in good shape, right? But while he's running, he's davening. But he's running, but he's davening. But and he's running and he's davening, which is this is what we're supposed to be doing. Okay. Now the next benefit of bitachon. Right.
There's a song, even though I have how bad my problems, but he felt it was a song. He was singing to Hashem, wasn't complaining to Hashem, wasn't fetching.
Right. Right. In that
Oh.
situation, right. And then there's
But
another
also
one.
close of the ancient, so, and you see Hashem?
Sorry?
You see Hashem?
There's another Tehillim that's whew. It's always to me one of the most emotional ones, and I can't remember the words. Maybe you'll help me out. Basically, it's his son dies, right?
Yeah.
His son he has with Bathsheba.
Yeah.
And basically he's like davening and crying and having a really hard time. And then he says to his servants, oh, it's not Tehillim. It's probably not Tehillim. No, it's from the Nach. And then he says to his servants, get me my clothes, get me my food. And they said,
Once he died, he said,
right. And they're like, what happened between yesterday and today? He goes, Emish, yesterday I still had, this was my avoda. This is what I had to do. I had to cry and I had to daven. This is what I did. But now that it's done, this is from Hashem. So now I have to, it's a tough one. That's a real tough one. Yeah. So the next benefit of bitachon is that a Baal bitachon feels simcha in any situation that Hashem puts him, even if it goes against his nature. Why? Because the person with bitachon knows that Hashem only does what's best for him. This is, to me, is like, you want to talk about the dentist? I don't know. So this is the thing I told you that I heard twice last night. One from Rabbi Glassing, one from Rabbi Mundell, which I felt this was very helpful. You want to argue me? Go ahead. I have no problem. Yeah. I don't know. Yehuda Mundell, he's sitting there eating potato chips while he speaks. He goes, see how much Hashem loves us. Do you see how much Hashem loves us? He makes potato chips. He's a character. You ever watch him? He's a character. He's just... he does. He's very into bitachon. He's very, yeah. He's such a character. He is very funny. He's just entertaining. Yeah. Anyway, so he said, and Rabbi Glassstein also, he said the same thing, but in a different way. So Rabbi Glassstein, there was open questions about the time now with the war. So somebody said, I'm having a hard time with Simchas HaChaim. He said, who said you have to have Simchas HaChaim? Both of them said that. It's not, we're in a difficult time. We're in a painful time. And Rabbi Mondel said, people are working so hard on their Simchas HaChaim, it's making them depressed. Take a chill pill. Don't work so. I'm so nervous. Rabbi Glassstein said, it's a hard time. You work on our Muna, we work on our Bitachon. And Rabbi Glassstein kept saying, if you're having a hard time, talk to somebody. Find somebody to talk to. And I don't know if he meant a therapist or a friend or whatever. Do something about it. No one's telling you to be depressed. But I felt like I couldn't believe that. I heard this from two different people. About don't worry so much about Simchas HaChaim. And he goes again, and one of them said, people he said it could even be dangerous. I'm gonna dance, I'm gonna pretend everything's great, and then inside you're falling apart. And you're having such a hard time. But you're pushing and pushing. I think I told you guys about the time when I had a miscarriage and it was Shabbos, and I was trying so hard not to cry because you're not allowed to cry on Shabbos. My throat was I had such pain in my throat from trying not to cry. I don't know if you ever tried this. Don't try this at home. My husband finally said, Doba, cry. You'll feel better. You'll enjoy Shabbos. Look how the Shabbos cry. He said the MOs cried when they didn't have babies. It's okay. It's not in a baby. You're not crying because your lollipop, fell down or I don't know what. You're crying because I finally got pregnant after taking fertility drugs. It was sad. It was very sad. So cry. So I think I just thought it was just like, here we are talking about Simchas HaChaim, and I always, my favorite, one of my favorite definition of Simcha is what is Simcha? Because people say, well, hold on a second, you have to know what Simcha is. And the Sivas Shalom says, Simcha is knowing that Hashem manhig et Chaim shalach. Hashem is running your life. Like take whoever you think of is like who you wish was living in a little room in your house. My thought comes to be the Lubavitcher Rebbe. He was living in every little thing. Okay, maybe the next apartment over. You're right. No, but I'm just saying that if I had in my disposal that every time I needed to make any kind of decision or anything upsetting, if I would tell them, this kid's not going to school, he's sleeping in every day, and I could just go into the Rebbe and say, my son is sleeping in every day, and for him to say whatever he would say, and then I'd be like, I would breathe, I'd put down my shoulders, I'd be okay, because it is okay that he sleeps in every day. It is okay. Because he's going through whatever he's going through and he has to grow up. It's not okay, like the right thing to do. It's not a disaster. It's not like this is true. And I just stopped very, very recently. Every morning we were having fights. And I say every morning, what are you doing? Everyone's in school now. The Chinese are in school now. Datim, Hilunim, everybody at 9 o'clock is in school now. Look outside, it's empty. At 8 o'clock, everyone's getting on their little buses. Everyone, so how many? I mean, poor guy, he had to hear this every morning.
Yep.
And then my husband, he got onto it a little bit. Because I couldn't anymore. It was killing our relationship and killing my day. Starting my day with boom, 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 boom. So my husband now gets more involved with it. But whatever, he's got to do what he's got to do. I can't push it. I can't force it. Point of Simchas Chaim is that don't work so hard or feel so bad if you don't have it right now. If somebody, let's take a different example. If somebody, I don't know, chas v'chalila, chas v'shalom, I don't know, ala goyim, somebody's house would get burned, and and they're spending lots and lots of time. You had that happen, right? In Crown House, your husband. It takes a long time to buy new things and clean and all that stuff. And so somebody would say, but Gemma, work on your Simchas Chaim.
What's the internal process to really to do that? It seems like it's a lot about Simchas Chaim and Hashem running the world. It's a constant process of letting go.
100%.
100%.
Right.
You get yourself starting to get all worked up and nervous, come back to the point, they say, let go, thank God,
Yeah.
It's just a phrase, but it comes to my mind a lot.
Yeah, let it go, let it flow, and old milvado.
That's my.
That's really, I think Shannon Marvis made it out. Let it go, let it flow, and old milvado.
Whatever.
Okay.
A while ago.
I know. Okay,
no,
no, I think it was a simultaneously thing from a show. I heard her say it. Maybe she got it from you. I heard her say it.
Whatever.
No, it's great. Let it go, let it flow, and old milvado. And you said, okay. Well, and then they took it. Walt Disney took it too. Let it go, frozen. Okay, forget it.
It's true. That's the level. Just you talk about. It's all there. Nothing else.
And it's very, very important. I once. It's more of an avodah.
No, I think you see the left.
Oh.
No, but I think when you're younger, you have energy. You feel like you can do it.
Oh, right. Right.
That space inside of you, they're I actually can do it.
Right.
I don't have the strength anymore.
Yeah.
And you're just so kind of makes.
I think Hashem makes younger people have that azad kedusha or chutzpah on purpose, or else so that they do feel like they can conquer.
Yeah.
I think it ben shloshim le gevora or something. I like, or maybe ben esrim. What? Esrim is koach. The later you don't get wisdom till 40, 50, 60. That stuff. Yeah.
You've been through so much.
Right.
I know, just to get in there.
Right. It's also the Shiva went through this part with me when my child when I had a premature baby, and I was just so anyways, I left the hospital and I left my right arm there, meaning I left my baby there. It was just what? How do you leave a tiny little baby in the hospital? That's the most ridiculous thing in the entire world. It's a tiny little baby in the hospital without It's like a crazy situation. And I came home and one of my sons spilt the milk. Now I have to tell you, spilt milk to me, yes, you should cry over spilt milk. Spilt milk is gross. There's kashrus issues. It could smell. It's not like, it's like up there was spilling oil or eggs. Eggs is like, whatever. So anyway, so one of my kids spilt milk and I said, go get a smart tool and clean it up. And he was like, and I promise you, he said this. He said, I see you've become a better mother.
Oh,
I should remind him of this. He was like 8.
oh,
I don't know.
that's quite crazy.
I have to remind him of this. So, because to me, it was like, spilt milk? Are you joking? I care about spilt milk? When my tiny little baby who's on a respirator is in the hospital? Are you like, it was like, whatever. So yeah, so we don't want those things to happen. And Hashem does do those things. We have to learn from that. And Hashem does do those things. He makes these things happen. It should only be spilt milk. But we've said this before that the Vilna Gaon, his definition of trust, of bitachon, is like a little baby in his mother's. Elishev has a new granddaughter, Baruch Hashem. Yeah. So the baby's not worried.
Wow.
So the baby's not worried about the.
This is number what? Really?
So,
Wow.
yeah.
So her baby's not worrying about where her next meal is coming from. Her baby's not worrying like, I hope my mother gets it together and rests and eats properly, because as far as I understand, it's really the mother that suffers a lot more than the baby. But the other part about it is the other way around. Is that, like how many times, like when does the baby start crying at a bris? Exactly. It's nothing. It's not even necessarily when at the cut. You hear, "Wah, wah," you're like, okay, we have to start diving. No, actually not yet. No, whatever. It's not the bris yet. If they're opening it, it's cold. And I always have this like, why is the baby with the men? The bris should be up with the women. We not, but probably because we'd be like, oh, don't do it. Anyways, so basically there's things that we have to do with a baby sometimes, whether it's even bathing the baby or changing the baby's diaper, like the baby's hungry, but you want to change the baby's diaper because he's going to fall asleep afterwards. So you want to change. Sometimes you want to change before, except that they always seem to poop right afterwards because because they're all full of lot. Right. But the bottom line is that the baby doesn't understand that what the mother's doing is really for his what's best, because the mother really does know what's best for the baby, and he doesn't know why the mother. I mean, it's just having that belief that we're really Hashem's doing it, really what's best for all of us. And really taking that to heart, and just really whatever
everybody thinks to himself, like, what's like the really hard thing, we all have difficulties. But to be able to really believe that in the part of your heart is it's so challenging.
Oh, sure.
And not, but you can say it in like all the other places.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The smaller examples.
Right. Right. And then you can even hear Vortlach about it and Chizuk about it. Like Kesher Nafshi says that anyone who has a kid that went off the derech, it's because you parents are so special to be able to take care of this neshama. To you, thank you very much. Whatever. Or like have a friend who lost her baby, and people said stupid things to her, and said, "You must be tzaddikim." And she said, "I would have rather not be tzaddikim."
There's a story of some mother that she had a lot of miscarriages. And her husband told her, because you're so great, you're very high in Shabbat. So
right.
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 So
right.
Yeah.
Right. Wow.
He was his father's successor.
Wow.
Get that kind of
Before.
Right. But the bottom line is, I think we
Yeah.
have to, I think we have to like stop for a second and really think about what Elisheva said, because I'm talking to myself, because actually, like here I am making fun of like, I happen to have a relationship with certain kids who are not Shomer Shabbos that I gave birth to. And to really say, oh, okay. Oh, instead of going, oh, well, I don't want this to happen. I didn't want that to happen. Just to like, I know. Right. I would have rather not be in a, okay. So that means Hashem gave me certain kochos that other people don't. I'm not saying I'm greater than other people. I'm saying other people have kochos to deal with other things. Maybe it's their shlom bayit or whatever their challenge is. Oh, okay. So that means I could do this, I think, maybe. If that's what Hashem's putting on my plate, then, oh, okay. A friend of mine walked into the house one day and she looked at my house. She said, "You're running a Chabad house." And if anyone has a Chabad house, I always say I'd love to have a Chabad house like in the artist quarter of Minyan. Like what I wouldn't want to go to Zimbabwe, but Tzfat, that would be cool. Anyways, if anyone would go, wow, look at the Traxlers, wow, look at the people, the Chabadnikim in Zimbabwe, wow, they're so special. Why are they more special than somebody who's doing it in their own home with their own children? Kal v'chomer. Like whatever it is, and just what. Yeah. Anyways, so just taking these nisayino that are really, really difficult and having the complete bitachon that it's on your plate for a reason, and that Hashem didn't just throw you the ball and then run. You didn't say, here, good luck, Doba. Here, take this nisayon, and he's out of here, and I'm there. I mean, it's so obvious how Hashem, actually I went to this Kesher Nafshi Shabbaton, which was extremely expensive. It was $750.
Oh, it was 3 nights.
Oh, come on, still. It was, okay, no, I'm not saying it, no. Right. No, it was, no, and all these Americans came and they paid for their flights too, their American flights. Anyways, you should not know about it, but for to give support to families who, challenging on their journey. So incredible, and they get the best. When we went, YY Jacobson was there on their derech, right? And it changed my life. It totally changed my life. And I remember thinking before I went that I don't know who told me, maybe El Chef, I don't know, somebody told me that, oh, you're not going in order to learn how to makarve your kids. I was like, what? Then what? Exactly. I was like, why am I going there? What? First of all, the food was like, you're not exaggerating. They spoil you rotten from sushi to blueberries. I mean, you get everything over there. Oh, everything. They just know that you should see the grown men, Hasidic men crying. It was just like that song Achenu. I came home, I had one of my kids, I haven't written down the words to it. It's just like all these people, every kind of background, just like, where did I go wrong? And the shame involved and all that stuff, whatever. Anyways, I'm totally going off. But basically, it's like just having a situation where that every single person has their derech and their way that go. Okay, fine. So guess what? We're on to chapter 1. Isn't that crazy? I mean, no, it's interesting because I'm curious to see how many classes it takes to do the whole Shar B'Tachon. But chapter 1, if you look, I don't know. So chapter 1, if you have a Chovos Levavos, is like this. It's like one paragraph. Chapter 1. We just spent 3 classes doing the introduction. Chapter 1 is one paragraph. Chapter 4 is very long. Anyways, and chapter 2 is an explanation of chapter 1. Anyways, chapter 1, he wants to define what is bitachon. actually in the last chapter, he gives like 10 different words for bitachon, but basically trust, reliance. And so basically what he wants to do is say, what would lead a person to place trust in anyone at all? Now in Hebrew, you don't have capitalized letters. And the first time I learned this, I learned it without any perush, not from the art scroll, not from Chabad, from the good old fashioned Feldheim Tovos and Levavos. And I asked my husband, I said, what? We both couldn't figure it out, because it was talking about who you should trust in. And it sounded like a person, but that's the only way it could be. It really should be like the entity, like who. So when I say it also, it said, what would lead a person to place his trust in anyone at all, right? As you know, the answer is there's nobody except for Hashem, right? Okay, but that's it's okay. So he says there's different levels of trust, and Chavos is describing the degree of trust that qualifies as bitachon, okay, and gives the basis for anyone having trust in anybody. Because you can say, well, why should I have bitachon? Meaning, when we say bitachon, obviously we mean in Hashem, right? So again, sometimes I quote him because I want to quote him. Ach mahut habitachon hi menuchat anefesh aboteach v'shiyeh libo samuch al mi shebatach alav. Okay, he says the bitachon is completely confident that your destiny is in the hands of someone who will do only what is best for you, because he knows what is best for you and he's able to do what is best for you. So I like to use the Bobby example, because Bobby, what would Bobby not do for her grandchildren? But we can't do everything for them. We don't know what's best. I guess you could say the same thing for children. We don't. Well, of course, we would do anything for our children, but who says that we know what's best for them? And anyways, we can't. We can't be there for 24/7. And even David Amel says, Aviva Imi Yasfuni. We can't. Left me forsake, forsaked. We might not get what we want, but it's fine. Because the person with bitachon believes he gets exactly what he needs, even if we don't understand. So it's like, okay, Hashem, I don't get this. Like a job comes up, right? And it's like it's a very rare kind of a job, and like it's tzfat. How many people, and it opens up. This happened to me. It opened up. It's something. Oh, this is something I can do, and it's very And then somebody else, the person who actually was a friend of mine, gave the job to somebody else. It was a hard one. And to have bitachon that job was not meant for me, and have bitachon that it's the best thing.
You need to know that you can't understand Hashem. That goes
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Because we can't understand Hashem.
You made it.
Because if we want to understand Hashem, we can't be bitachon.
Right.
Like I can't figure my husband had to die.
Right.
But everything's really good. I can't understand why he's doing it.
Even now with the war, this one of these sharing, Rabbi Glasstein, people kept asking him questions. I felt so bad for him. Finally, he said, "Can we just go into like what says it about the war between Ishmael and Esav?" And he just went into all that stuff, because he just like, we don't know why this is happening. Oh, and what should we be working on? Sneeze, Shabbos, do a cheshbon nefesh, and everybody should be working on something, but not to start going into, what do you think we should be working on? Why do you think this happened? We're not on that level. And just do something more. Just do something, but do something. Everybody should be doing something very, very individual. Can I have some more hot water? In terms of like, if people are upset about like, why did the war happen and what should we do to go through this? How do we go? All that stuff. It's a very, very individual thing. And actually, I heard somebody else also say that. I can't remember who, but actually, we used to listen to shares from Mrs. Mrs. Levy. Remember the mikveh lady, Miriam Levy, or the Sheva Levy? What's her name? Esther Levy. You know, I used to love. She said something which I thought was great. But you know, you could go to a kenes on sneas, and you know what's going on because of the lack of sneas, and then we have to. And then you go home and you're like, yeah, I have to work on sneas. But then, like a couple of weeks later, there's a class on Shmiras Shabbos, and you're like, you know, Shabbos, and the quotes from here to tomorrow. They can quote Sukkim. It's true. All the different. You know, so you go. So what? And then it goes. The next year is about Shmiras Einayim. Shmiras Lashon, you know, and they're like, and you're like this, and you're like this. And she said, and I love this, and she's just a regular tzedekah. I was gonna say she's a regular woman, whatever. She's just a regular person, okay? She said, and I love this. Everybody knows what they need to work on. I love it. I'm sorry, but I love when you go to a class on sneas. Well, that's for sure too. You go to class on sneas, and all the women there are dressed like covered from here to here, and I'm not talking about only in the winter. And they're, you know, and they're into sneas. Well, get a life, you guys. Why don't you guys work on something else? I'll tell you why I can say that. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
It's like saying you should get a life and you're working bitachon.
My bitachon is way. Also, I'll tell you what happened. My bitachon is not nearly.
Sorry, maybe obviously it's something that's very deep, something they're connected to. So they always learn the kadosh and get that, even though it looks like they're the last people that need it.
So I'll tell you what I said to them. I was getting very frustrated at the class because they started talking about the girls in Tzfat, not girls, whatever. The ones the women in Tzfat who like to wear white and flowy hippie type stuff. What are you judging them for? Hold on a second. So, and then I said to them, I said, you know what?
Belong to the floor.
Yeah, especially in Tzfat. If you go into like maybe Lakewood, maybe not. But here in Tzfat, why not? And then I said, you want to work on sneas? And I said, this was a long time ago. It was in apartment building 7. This is a long time ago when my Hebrew was much worse. I said, Tim would seem to go with you guys want to work on sneas? What about screaming in the cheder madrigal, Shimmy, you forgot your lunch? Of course they do. In fact, Esther Levy told a story about how her mother, there was a woman who always yelled from the cheder madrigal, you know, hurry up, you're gonna miss the bus. To that, her kid learned that you could do that. So somebody asked where her mother was, and he yelled from the window, my mother's taking a bath now. She can't make it. It's like right before Shkia. Anyways, so how do we get into this? Yeah, what everybody has to work on. I don't bitachon. I don't know. Basically, working on what we're supposed to be working on. Yeah. Oh, right. What are we supposed to work on? Whether it's sneas or Shabbos or whatever. That people really do know what everybody knows what they have to work on. Like for me, whatever. If my bitachon is it. Right.
People are so careful, right?
Right.
You go to things that are
right. Even I went to a sneas class once, and somebody asked this woman. It was a great class. Somebody asked this woman about she said. They asked the teacher, what does she think about wearing a shawl? And she said, I promise you, anyone who wears a shawl underneath is completely tsanua. You know. Like, I know if you would take off her shawl, it's very tsanua. She's not wearing like a low cut, whatever, Anyways, this woman was really great. She said, I have no patience, about people. She said there was this whole conversation about like sneeze and stuff like that. And then you go to Eilat in the summer, and if boots are in style, people are wearing boots, whether it's hot or not.
Yeah.
And anyways, one time I went to Vancouver and it was snowing, and my son who I went with is not exactly the most frum guy around. And there was this girl in front of us who was wearing like this, I don't even know what she was wearing. She wasn't wearing so much. She was wearing like this mini thing. And I'm like looking at her thinking, oh gosh, I wish my son wasn't looking at this. And what did he say? What an idiot. Look at her. What a fool! It's freezing. There's snow on the ground.
She was in a ski jacket and pants were down to here, so everyone saw the ring in her belly button.
Right. Okay, so so the vital point for trusting in another is that one's heart must be confident that he places his trust. The person he places his trust in him will always be for them. I once did this exercise. I hate this exercise. Talk about Bituach. The exercise where people stand up and one has to lean.
The trust fall.
I hate that. Wait.
And you just fall back and trust that they're going to catch you. Behind you. It's like a trust exercise. People have dropped people. You have to talk to you.
No.
People are able to actually
They able to hold it.
Yeah.
Not a matter of trust. It's just strong enough.
Strong. They want coordinated.
Well, I mean,
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't.
Yeah. Right. No, but even if you think about it, like me thinking about it makes me nervous. Just having that trust that, and can you imagine all the times when we feel like we're falling and we're like scared? You have to think Hashem's there. He's holding us up. We ain't gonna fall. We're not gonna fall. We're not gonna fall.
And it sort of climbed up really high on this climbing thing, and then she couldn't get down, and she was petrified. So the father went over, and he's like, "I'm here." She's like yelling, "Abba, Abba, Abba," and he's like, "I'm right here. Just let go. I'm gonna catch you. I'm gonna catch you." And she couldn't let go. And finally, she just let go, and he caught her. And he thought, "Isn't that what our lives are like? We're all yelling, Abba, Abba," because we just have to let go and let Abba.
I don't know if I should do that.
Let go. Let go. Let it flow.
I know, but he was like right there. He's like, "Just let go. I'm right here.
Right.
Right here. Just let go." And she couldn't. And finally, she had to let go because she couldn't get down, and she was like,
we get frozen.
And she was
we
like
get frozen.
Finally, was able to let go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then after, she's like, "Oh my gosh, isn't that like our
Yeah.
lives? Isn't that we have to do?"
100%. We get paralyzed. Yeah, we get paralyzed because we. Yeah. Yeah, actually, I remember there was a kid also in the park in front of my house. There was also a kid who climbed up and then couldn't get down and started freaking out. And also somebody was there and said, "You're okay. You're okay." Like according to logistics and physics and everything, like even if the kid just goes, we were there, but she just got, you get you get panic, you get paralyzed, and so these are really good images so that when we're like, we have no idea how this is going to work, no clue. And just knowing, there's someone bigger in the picture, and and one of the things that I find the most helpful is, I also learned from one of these classes, is working on Bituach with the small things.
Yes.
You can't wait for the big things, because then all of a sudden you're like, you're rusty, your muscles are not just don't wait for, and that's why these people who are constantly bringing Hashem into their lives and constantly davening to Hashem and constantly thanking Hashem and thinking, Hashem, I missed the bus. Thanks, Hashem. Thank you. But keep saying, okay, got it. Okay. All right. Okay, Hashem. Somebody insults you. Thanks, Hashem. Well, anyways, everybody's really into this thing. You get insulted, and then again, it's its own to daven. I was talking to somebody, and I said, "Oh my gosh, I just got so hurt." She goes, "Daven." I said, "You're right," and I got off the phone. I have to get off the phone now. I got it. You're right. I forgot. These are the things. Okay, so. The trustee must be able to help. Okay, these are the reviews, right? He must know what the person needs. He has to keep his word. Can always be counted on. 24/7, right? He's all, Rebbetzin Cook would always say, his line is always open. He's there. There's nobody else who's always there. Always there. Even though, somebody said to me, not so long ago, said to me, "Oh, you don't feel like you can trust me?" And I said, "No, sure. I mean, you can't trust anybody. I can't trust anybody. Can't trust anybody. Not because they're bad people, but because people have lives and people are just people. People are people. It's because they're people. The trustee will not only, oh, I like this one, will not only do what he promised, will provide additional benefits. The trustee, Hashem, will not only do what he promised, but will provide additional benefits as a kindness. Like he doesn't just go according to the letter of the law. And there's so many examples of that to do with like how many times Hashem is waiting for us and waiting for us and waiting for us and patient with us. And just learn the Yud Gimel Midos. Learn Tomer Devara. I'm a fanatic about all that too. The first chapter of Tomer Devara. It's just like Hashem, just like how many times, he gives us things. He can give us anything. He can give us these phones. How much good, wonderful, beautiful things we could do with this phone. How many horrible, disgusting averas we could do with this phone. It's our choice, but he gave us the technology. Take your hand, take your face. Your face is Reshus Rabim. Take your face and smile at somebody, or whatever. Somebody who's having a hard time, and I'm like, I have to stop what I'm doing. And I did yesterday. Baruch Hashem, I've been thinking about doing it for a week, but finally, yes, I sent them a message. I'm thinking of you. You should have a good day. Oh, it makes a person feel good. A virtual hug, whatever, so this is what Hashem does. He gives us much more than what we deserve. How do we know that the provider, capital P, promises to do what he pledged? Why should we rely on him to keep his word, right? Okay, so anyway, so here we're selling you on Bituach, and it's only Hashem. How do you know? How do you know he's not going to say, I'm not getting involved? So it says, Hashem mentions many times that Hashem has promised to sustain every living creature. We're talking about with basic needs. We're not talking about anything extra for that. As long as he's destined to live. And it's a hard one. It's a very hard one. That guarantee applies to minimal means of survival. Anything extra is an added favor from Hashem. Who knows lechem l'kol bazar ki le'olam chasdo uftuvo gadol le'olam ve'ed. These are the psukim that he quotes as his to prove it. So basically, it's like, obviously we don't want we don't put ourselves into danger purposely, but a person is going to go when he's going to go. And like it says that Sarah, right? Sarah lived 100 years and 20 years and 7 years. She died exactly when she was supposed to, not because of a case Yitzchak. There's a medrash, and we have to understand medrashim and how medrashim work. Yeah, so that's how she died, and she wouldn't have died like that. When people say, oh, I had a very hard time with these things, because what does it mean? There's people who die of starvation. They die. How do they die? Of starvation.
This. There's like I don't know, like it's not a joke. There's an angel, and the angel would come. The Hashem goes to this angel because I want this angel to be the Melech HaMakas. He's like, no way, forget it. I'm not going to be the Melech HaMakas. Obviously, the other angel pipes up and says, "Oh, you don't have to worry about it. They're going to say, oh, he died from a heart attack, and he died from a car accident.
Wow!
He died from that. You don't have to worry
Excellent,
about it.
excellent, excellent.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Right. If only he would have taken. I told him he should be eating better. He never exercised. Doesn't mean that we're not supposed to eat well and exercise. Whatever. But yeah. It's and what actually. I think some people. I think Rabbi Y.Y. Jason and Rabbi Glasstein also was getting a little bit. I don't know if the word is annoyed, upset about about making all why this happened and why that's happening, just like Kadima, like, who are we? We're not prophets, and we're not like, this is not, and it's not, doesn't help anybody. You're looking for a short answer. I think that's Rabbi Glassman was getting really upset. Everyone's looking for like, can we figure this out? I want to understand this. No, there's no understanding. I think we understand that we don't understand the Holocaust. Didn't we get to that? And now we're doing it again. We want to understand again. No, that's not. For what? So then you go, oh, I feel so much better now. No, there's no better. Keep working. We have to keep working. We have to keep going. We have to keep improving on our avodas Hashem and our tefillah and our learning and everything. Okay, it says in many places in the Torah, Hashem says if we listen to Hashem in the mitzvos, He will shower us with bountiful sustenance. And if we don't listen to Him, we forfeit the right to reward and become subject to many curses. But Hashem never curses us to the point of extinction. So He's merciful to all His creations, whether they deserve it or not. Even when we incur His wrath, He deals with us with strict judgment. He doesn't abandon us, and He continues to sustain us. I don't know about you guys, but I think a lot of people also have been talking about, like, where was Hezbollah on October 7th? Sleeping? Why didn't they join the party? They could have, chick-chock. We were attacked in the south. They could have done the north and finished like chas v'chalila. I think Rabbi Glasstein was also talking about that a lot, about like, do you understand what's going on? Whatever. I don't want to go into this too much, but do you know what's going on with them? I mean, the Rishayim, they're like, we are being so protected. We don't even understand how much protection we have. If you really want to get into it, I mean, he was just like, exactly.
Beautiful story. There was some guy in Jamaica, and it was winter time, so there was some guy there. And he was there was this guy to rest. It was Sajia in Azan. And he turns to face Yerushalayim to have mincha. Everyone else is sitting around in a semicircle facing the other way. And all of a sudden he sees this Arab now the pier.
Arab what?
Arab now the pier of shoot.
What?
Pier.
Parachute.
No. Shoot.
A tunnel?
A tunnel pit.
Oh,
yeah. And he saw it. He just told everyone what's going on. They turned around and they killed him.
Oh my gosh.
But it's because he was facing that way. They didn't
Yeah.
able to see.
So everyone was so overwhelmed by Hashem's goodness. They said tomorrow everyone's having mincha.
No.
And it was only from person, I think, and it's true.
Wow.
They just, there's a lot
Wow.
of chasadim Hashem is doing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So for the good, many times we get more than we were promised. Hashem goes beyond what He pledges to do us as a favor and kindness, which is what we were talking about with in Tomer Devorah. That's how I got into Tomer Devorah, about how Hashem, because that's what we do around that time. Yud Gimel, Midos, whatever. Okay, so that's the end of chapter 1. That basically Bitachon is absolute reliance on the provider, and that the provider is able to help. He wants to help. He knows what's best for us, and He'll help even more than what we expect or deserve. So I mean, like we don't want Hashem to do according to the letter of the law. We don't. Whatever. So yeah. He also said something very interesting, Rabbi Gladstein. There is the 3 weeks. Okay. This is like such an obvious point that I don't know. I never heard this before. We have the 3 weeks, right? We have Shiva Tammuz until Tisha B'Av. By the time we get to Tisha B'Av, we're finished. Whether it's just because we can't stand being in this icky zone anymore, or we're getting a little deeper and thinking about the tsaris of Am Yisrael, but we just can't wait to finish with this. What happens after this 3 weeks? 7 weeks of Nechama. And then we go into doing tshuva and Rosh Hashanah and Eser Simei Tshuva and Yom Kippur. But we don't, but that's what Rabbi Glasson was saying. I think this is an incredible thought. We're right now, we have to comfort ourselves. It just happened October 7th. And of course it's not finished, but we're not like, yeah, let's do tshuva. Hold on. We're still, what's the expression, reeling. We're still like, what? The things are coming out now about like the hostages that get released. We're hearing about what they went through. The thing, I just felt like from Rabbi Glasson, it was kind of like, breathe. He's give us a chance to breathe a little bit, and to like lick our wounds, and let's just like we're just like, okay, this happened. Now what are we gonna do? That's not what happened after Tisha B'Av. We don't go into tshuva. It's an interesting thought, no? How come right after Tisha B'Av?
They want everything has to be known and done and understood and
Right,
gone.
right.
Very methodical.
What?
Right.
Methodical, like,
7 weeks. And a lot of people don't know that there's 7 weeks. We know about Parshas, we know about Nachu, we know about Parshas Nachum. We know about that. That's 1 week. And actually, just in Perek Shira, which talks a lot about the future, about the Geula. And there's a whole bunch of creatures who have their quote is from Mem Yeshaya. Nachmu is from Yeshaya.
Yeah.
Okay, so Nachmu is Perek Mem Pasuk Aleph. Okay, and there's a whole bunch of creatures that say Perek Mem Pasuk Bet Gimel Dalid. Yeah, I only know this because I'm teaching it. So it's like all these things about what's gonna, like we needed time. I'm really into this, and I want to like tell this to people and spread this around, that after the 3 weeks, Hashem does. Maybe we go on to like, okay, well, what are you doing during Ben's money? Where are you going? Where are you going to do with the kids? But that's not what the Torah says. The Torah says 7 weeks. 7 weeks. That's a long time.
And the Shabbos is for them, it's 3 weeks of standards.
Yeah, it's more than double. Yeah, because that's what obviously we need. And I think maybe we should remember this, because Hashem Mashiach should be here by then. But if Chas v'Chalim is not, I think we should remember it next year during those 7 weeks. What are we supposed to be doing? We're supposed to be comforted. Well, what if you don't need to be comforted? Well, guess what? You do. If there's 7 weeks of comforting, there must be some sort of reason. So just like, just saying like having this bitachon that Hashem is with us in this situation. And you know what? It's this whole thing, what I said about Simchas HaChaim is that like, like sometimes you could be like, every time I think of an example, it's like for me personally, and then I think like maybe I shouldn't share so much, but whatever. I got upset with my husband yesterday. Okay, we had a fight. He was wrong. He apologized profusely. No, he was. And then I'm like, what am I fighting about? There's a war going on. Like what? But what he did was, whatever. It was upsetting. So what? Basically, it's like, calm down. But everything that goes on, little by little, it's all for the same reason. It's all for working on your midos. And I'm very happy that that whatever argument I had with my husband yesterday, I told you about this wait thing, right? When you're angry, you should wait. Wait stands for why am I talking?
Want to say it again?
Probably not for me. Oh, which I heard it from a shir. Yeah,
Okay.
it was Rabbi
Cute. I
YY
like
with this therapist. Well, maybe something, because I like, why am I talking? I told this to somebody. She goes, "Why didn't you tell me this 40 years ago?" And there were so many things, because whatever. Like I'll tell you what it was. I said to him, "What do you want to do today?" Because it was a beautiful day, and I saw it was going to rain for another week. And yesterday was gorgeous. And I said to him, what do you want to do? These are the options. We could rent a car and whatever. We could do this, we could do that. We could take a bus to Tveria. And one of the options was I wanted to, which I've never done before because I don't have a car. I wanted to go pick up my granddaughters, buy them winter slippers, which they don't have, and take them and buy pizza. Isn't that like, so he was like, no, wait. Oh, so before that, I said, you choose. And he goes, no, whatever you want. I said, no, these are the options. You choose. Because that's very different between taking a bus to Tveria. We weren't going to rent a car to Tveria. It's too expensive. You choose. I was okay with either one. He kept saying, no, whatever you want. I said, okay. Okay, so this is what I want. I got on the phone with my son to make the arrangement. He goes, no, I don't want to do that. No way. And the car seat and how we're going to switch the car seats and stuff. So hard one, right? Of course, your husband is never going to do that. He's going to do whatever you want.
What happened again?
We didn't do anything, and he was really, and he said, okay, fine, we'll do it. Okay, fine, we'll do it. I said, I'm not doing that. If you're so miserable about it, I'm not going to do it. But he didn't. He apologized even this morning. No, he really, because he goes, but they were just here this Shabbos. Why do we have to see them again?
What?
They just wanted to be with you.
What?
They just wanted to be with you.
Well, that's the difference. Then he should have said, that's fine. But then he should have said, well, you know what? I think I would rather just rent a car. I said to him, I said whatever you want, because then I got so excited about, I mean, when you have a car, you don't even understand what it's like to think about picking up your grandchildren and taking them on a little tiuli, like taking them, one time I went with my daughter-in-law, also, we went to the pool. But I mean, she came too, we were just fine. But just like, to me, it's like, whatever. Anyways, but it was a avodah midot on the whole thing. Just to swallow it and say, okay, we were not meant to do this little tiuli. Okay, fine.
It's good that you feel regret about it. I might feel regret that it didn't work out.
I guess it's just I guess maybe maybe that's where the war comes in. I don't know. Like how can I can't, it's so hard to get super, I don't know. It's really hard to get super upset about anything right now.
Well, she could say the same.
Really? Like really angry, or I don't know, Hashem should have tested me.
Really angry?
Frustrated. No, I was like, it was very frustrating. I'm on the phone with my son trying to make arrangements, and he's in the background going, not. I said, Barak, that's simple. He'll put the car seat in. It's okay. It's not a big deal to say, like, he just got, no, he whatever. So anyways, this was being recorded for prosperity. Anyways, I'll turn that one off now. I don't even know if I have. Stop.